All right, we should be live. Yeah, we are.
We are live, yeah.
Gonna
Do you
go
see it
live.
on Instagram yet?
Yep, it's going live now.
Yeah, like I'm on my phone. Okay, there it is. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, we're good. We're live. What's up, everyone? We're gonna join. Got Classic Kev on, doing our first live together in a few months.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
It has. It has been.
Lots changed in the world and business, and I see you making some moves. Did you just open the hotel?
Yeah, I'm actually in the hotel right now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I just saw the pictures you put on Instagram, man. That looks incredible.
Oh, that one's
It's able to be
actually
booked.
that one's actually not mine. So that's actually my buddy who also built a hotel and wanted me to do a video for him. His is
Oh shit.
very nice. That one's on St. Charles in the Warehouse District.
Yeah, yours is on St. Claude.
Yeah, in the Bywater.
Oh, okay. It's on Airbnb or?
Yeah, it's on like Airbnb, VRBO,
Mhm.
bookings.com, Expedia, and we're setting up direct bookings. We're actually gonna set it up. We're gonna share direct booking links soon on social media, and like we're gonna do like an affiliate program for people who have friends coming to New Orleans and stuff. Like if they get people to book with us, then they'll get like a little cut.
Oh
So
shit.
we're gonna try that out and see how it works. That's a little idea we had.
Yeah, you can make money off of real estate without having to actually own it.
Yeah, yep. I think it could work. Everybody seems to know somebody coming in town for something.
Oh, absolutely. We got an Airbnb, and between family and friends, people coming in town, Mardi Gras Jazz Fest is always something. It definitely will stay booked, especially on the peak times.
Yeah, unfortunately, we opened in the slow season. It's really slow right now for everybody in the city. I went out this weekend. There was like nobody out in the city.
Dude, when it's hot like this, and then with the economy, people don't want to spend money. And then it's like the money they do want to spend, they want to spend it, in different ways than, just going out on leisure. They want to spend the money on stuff that's going to, like food.
Yeah, exactly.
Food and rent.
So what you been doing? I got the hotel open, but I heard you just made a new like real estate play and bought some new property, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things, like right now, like I still think, cash is king. And I was really been looking to buy, some land in the country because I think I've coined this term that like land, like raw land or land with like a water supply or, land in the country, whatever you want to call it, that's kind of like going to be the new Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as these rural areas, the reason why, if you think about it, like, why do you think, okay, so Richie, take a rural area, 20 acres in the country, whether it's Mississippi, Texas, Tennessee, why do you think people don't move out there? Or why don't they go live out there? What is the number one reason?
It's far away from everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big reason.
That's a big reason. That's not the number one reason. The number one reason they don't go to those places is because a lot of times it doesn't have internet or doesn't have good internet or doesn't have cell service. Yeah, like now these areas because of Starlink and fiber, like I have fiber internet. So basically my internet in the country is better than the internet in my house, which makes no sense if you think about it. But that, that's the number one reason. And that it's only an hour from
that
the
makes
war.
no sense.
Mm-hmm. No sense. But it was some type of grant with COVID. The Mississippi government got all kind of money to do that.
Wow.
But it.
So wait, you have a fiber connection running to.
Yep.
That, and it's like it's out in the middle of nowhere.
Out in the middle of nowhere. Yep. They got some type of big grant with COVID where like every piece of anybody that's got electricity, they ran fiber. So fiber, which I think is T1 connection, but it's crazy fast. It don't go down. It's pretty crazy, but I always thought that was the number one reason. I mean, it's only an hour away. And, when you look at New Orleans, a lot of people migrated to the North Shore, which is only like an hour away, but this is just the other way. Instead of going down 12, you're going up 59.
Yeah. I know a few other people are doing the same thing. They're getting ready for whatever's going to happen next. And they're buying farms and stuff way out there. and they have, you know, a well, and they have like solar panels and generators, and they have food and chickens and all that stuff.
You know, I think that, you know, people are going to want that. And, you know, the ability to buy acreages, raw land, like that's going to get harder to do. Now, look, it might have not been like my smartest move because I've always been under the impression that like if you're making a large purchase, especially real estate, that it should cash flow. This
Hmm.
isn't cash flowing anything. I just bought this because I wanted it. So like you could sit down and say, well, Kevin, you could have put this into a rental. I could have put this into Bitcoin. I could have put this money into an index fund and probably got a better return. But I'm not really looking at the return over 1 year, 2 years. I think in 10 years, you know, buying raw land is going to be really hard, especially raw land with a water source because it does have a well and the water is like perfect water. You can drink straight from the well. That's how good the water, and the well's got a hand pump on it too. So I think there's going to be a big demand.
Strategic.
Hmm?
Strategic. You know, a
Hmm.
lot of people are also going like an hour or two outside of New Orleans. They're buying up acres of land, usually on like these little rivers up in Mississippi, and they're
Hmm.
building like these Airbnb cabins. And they're making a killing because people want to get out the city on the
Yep.
weekends now, and they want to go somewhere within driving distance. They're making
Hmm.
a killing. Like I know of people who have done it, and I have a friend who's doing it now that's building
Hmm.
some, and know a few other people that are thinking about doing it. Seems like a good move.
Well, you know, the property tax, and you know, I hate to say this, that Mississippi's kind of on the come up. You know, for all the problems we have in Louisiana, Mississippi seems to be taking advantage of all the problems we have because you are seeing a bunch of people leave here going to Mississippi. One, because of the cheaper insurance, cheaper property tax, and you know, cleaner air, less crime. I mean, it's still a poor state, but I don't think that in 10 years, well, it's going to be a lot harder to go buy 15 acres. You know, it'll be a lot more expensive, kind of like down here in St. Bernard. Look how much acreage goes for down here. You know, rewind to, you know, when we were younger before Katrina, you could have got acre. I don't know what the price per acre was, but now I think it's like over like 10,000 per acre it's going
Yeah,
to because they just ran out of land.
dude, you could have bought lots in Arabi after Katrina
Oh,
for
no,
like
no, no.
5 grand or less, and now they're going for like 90.
I think they were going cheaper than that, actually. I think they were going cheaper than that. I've heard some crazy numbers, but what are you doing right now? You got anything else going on? I know you got towers going on, obviously ATMs, any other new revenue streams? And
Really,
you pick
really busy with Tower. We focused on the grocery stores, the supermarkets, and we actually landed a large national chain deal, and that's keeping us really busy. So we're
Mhm.
just rolling out tons of towers. Just brought on a guy to head up our media sales team who comes from a lifelong career in media sales to help build up the team bigger and help us sell more ads to keep up
Mhm.
with all the new inventory. And then on the ATM side, we're really just focused on the financial institutions. So we're doing
Mhm.
a lot with bank outsourcers. There's like a huge gold rush right now for outsourcing at banks and credit unions. They don't want to
Mhm.
own ATMs anymore. They don't want to manage ATMs anymore, especially with all the new crime happening with ATMs. They just look at it as like a big headache and a big liability. So they're outsourcing that stuff at like an unprecedented rate. So
Mhm.
we're picking up a lot of that type of business, but we haven't done too much outside of that. We're pretty focused right now. I mean, we still, you know, have some other stuff like retail ATMs, credit card accounts,
Mhm.
massage chairs, all that stuff, but we're really not focused on growing that unless something comes into us inbound or an existing customer grows and adds some new locations. But that's what we're really focused on. I think you're
Mhm.
you're really doing a lot of credit cards from what I've been seeing. It seems like every business in St. Bernard now runs their credit cards through you.
Yeah, so I've it's kind of crazy because I sold my whole processing route 2 years ago, and then I was actually just looking at the numbers. I'm like, holy shit, like it's actually bigger now than it was when I sold it. And I remember like juggling with, you know, the idea of selling because, you know, so many people they want passive income, they want residual income. So the idea of selling it is really foreign. But
Hmm.
when I back up and look at it, what I thought would have been a bad decision to sell the processing route to the bank I got a decent multiplier. And when I look at the math, unfortunately, because of the economy, every business that I had has closed. So I sold the route to the bank, and within 2 years, every single one closed. That's not my fault. Hey, y'all bought it,
Yeah.
but that's the attrition. You know, it's a high attrition business, and the fact that, you know, I could build it all back up, and if they offered to buy it again, I'd probably sell it again and just keep building it. There's no non-compete. But
Yeah.
you know, one thing we have been experimenting with, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, because it's my first time doing something like this, is I actually bought leads for once.
Really?
And yeah, I bought leads, and I haven't converted any of the leads, but I can definitely see the value of, you know, having inbound leads and meeting face to face with clients that are at least willing to have a discussion about, you know, we're not always talking about credit card processing. A lot of times they're meeting to did you hear about the Visa MasterCard settlement?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
That, you know, and it's crazy to me that there's so many business owners that are owed money from that settlement, and they don't even know anything about it. Like some of my clients are getting back like thousands of dollars. And this is
Damn.
actually the last month. So, you know, a lot of times they want information about that. So we have a lot of information printouts, and we give them all the information. Again, I'm not applying for them. I don't want any of their, you know, personal or business information. We're just giving them the information on how they can go apply for it, which all they really need is their EIN. So in turn, they get money, and, you know, hopefully they're so happy, like, man, this guy brought it to our attention. We didn't even know about it. Maybe in the future we can do business together. So that's kind of the mindset. But I haven't converted any of the paid leads. But is that
Where are
something
you
that
buying the leads from?
so it's actually a guy on YouTube, but he does a lot of credit card process and POS. You know, he's actually the guy that got me into the business, that I learned everything from this guy's course. He partners with a lot of ISOs, he partners with a lot of processors, and just puts out a lot of educational content. And he put together the whole campaign. So it's pretty smart what they're doing, because when they're calling these businesses, they created a face company. They created a front company that's called, like, you know, like Rally Retailers or Small Business Alliance, some shit like that. And basically the whole purpose of it is to just bring awareness to these different programs, you know, because I'm sure you've heard Visa and MasterCard has changed a lot with how cash discounting and surcharge and how that works. A
Yeah.
lot of business
I've
owners are
heard
still
some
doing it
crazy
wrong.
stories lately with people like having Visa send in like secret shoppers
Mm-hmm.
and catch them and
Mm-hmm.
find them and make them change how they're presenting the cash discount.
Yeah, and we consult a lot of clients that are, one, just adding a fee on, which Visa and MasterCard don't want you doing that, or two, adding a line item, which is the way cash discount used to be done, where it says, you know, something like non-cash adjustment 4%. So if you're watching this and you're into cash and you're into these type of programs and making passive income from them, if you go to a place and you see that they're doing that, be sure to let the business owner know that, you know, like Richie's saying, secret shoppers. Now, I don't know what kind of fine these businesses can get. I don't, you know, normally business
Apparently a
owners,
lot. I heard it's like a lot.
I've heard two
Especially if
different
they
numbers.
caught again, like each
Mhm,
time I believe it goes up. It hasn't happened to any of ours,
mhm,
but I have a friend that does ATMs and credit cards, and he's
mhm.
had several of his accounts hit on the credit card side, and the fines have been a lot. And he said the merchants get really mad at him, and he said it's a mess.
It comes down to that the banks or you know, companies like Square or Toast, I don't think they want us. You know, they don't want 1099 agents. They want to do away with that. And I think that that's kind of one of their ways of doing away with that. You know, so in the old days, POS companies and payment processing companies would build out their business with 1099 agents, people like us. And now, you know, through private equity, they're able to go public, raise a bunch of money, hire a W-2'd sales staff, not pay residuals and commissions, and build that way. And that's unfortunately the future. You know, I mean, anybody watching this, if you go around your town, what are you going to see? You're going to see Square. We can't sell Square. We can't help clients with Square. You're going to see Toast. We can't help clients with Toast. There's nothing you can do. And, you know, these brands have brand recognition. They have household recognition. You know, the stuff that we're putting out, it might be quality equipment and it might be even the better solution, but it doesn't have the brand recognition that Square or Toast has. And it's unfortunate, but hey, we're gonna keep, you know, squeezing this juice, you know, until we can get the last drop out of it. I mean,
So the leads that you're buying, I mean, people do that too in the ATM business, but I've never found that stuff like works very well. But I know it works in some industries, so it never worked for me. I think like what out of curiosity, like how much is it per lead?
so I can't, I think I paid 2,000 per month for 40 leads. And sometimes, dude, you go there and the business is closed, or they don't even want to talk to you. Now, I've had some good conversations, so it's definitely been networking. And again, I'm, you know, if it's 60 leads, I've burned through, I think, about 40 of them now. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
no, it's 120 leads, 2,000 a month for 3 months, so 6,000 for 120 leads. I've burned through 40 of them, have not converted any of them, but I still feel
Mhm.
good that, you know, again, you know, the last 5 of them I could sign, and it would, you know, the profitability of these accounts, it would be worth it. But you
Yeah.
might be right. It might be a complete waste. Somebody put a question in the chat there, Richie. How do outsourcing providers ensure the security of ATM operations? I'm gonna let Richie take that one. That's
So that there's a lot going on right now with security in the ATM world, especially the FI ATMs. That they're getting attacked at like an insane rate right now. All types of attacks, whether it be getting hit with a truck, a chain attack, man in the middle attack. They're
what's the
swapping.
man in the middle attack?
That's where they basically get in between the ATM and the processor and intercept the message and turn a denial into an approval. So there's a lot of that happening in the FI space right now, but there's things you can do. So, you know, and when you have these like island drive up ATMs, you can put these barriers in front of them, these gates in front of them to stop the chain attacks. You can put a collar on them that makes it where you can't really hook a chain up to the door. You can encrypt the connection between the ATM and the modem to stop man in the middle attacks. And there's a lot of little settings and stuff you can put on there to make that better. Uh,
Mhm.
there's you know, just a lot you can do. A big thing you should change the factory locks. A lot of people don't because they have all these service companies and all, but should change
Mhm.
factory locks on all ATMs, not just FI ATMs, also on retail ATMs. And there's a new update coming up on ATMs. It's come out on some already, and it depends on the processor, but there's something called macking that is rolling out, and it should fix, I guess, the man in the middle
Mhm.
vulnerability. It is already out under certain processors, and it's about to come out on other ones. And that's always, you know, that's probably the thing that's going to solve that problem overall for now until they come up with something new.
Are they catching any of these like cyber attacks, or, you know, people hacking ATMs, or, you know, the one I guess I see a lot on social media is the skimmers, where they actually put the device on, you know, the gas pump or in the credit card terminal, and, you know, I guess it's just stealing the card information.
Yeah,
Are
they
they
caught these
catching these
guys.
people?
They caught those guys locally last week in Metairie down here that were putting the cover on the POS terminals in the grocery stores, and they caught them. They got caught.
Mhm. I
But there's
wonder
a ton
what.
of people doing it. I mean, it's different groups. Like the skimmers are usually Romanian mafia. Like they put skimmers on gas pumps and POS systems and
Mhm.
ATMs. They do a lot of skimmers.
Yeah, it's, you know, the more digital we go and the more everything is converted, where, you know, they're just getting rid of cash. Like, I think we're going to see a lot more of that. Then, you know, with the growth of AI, it's kind of scary, the different type of scams. Like, you know, like when we see scams now, you know, like phishing links, or, you know, the Nigerian prince has $10,000 for you, we laugh at them. But, you know, there's people that fall for those scams, like, you know, the
Yeah.
older generations. But like now, these new scams, it's stuff that it's pretty scary. It's pretty scary, and I think that, you know, you're dealing with it. cyber attacks, or are you doing anything else to prevent, your company, or any advice you could give people, like how to avoid that if they're in the ATM business? I'd be terrified right now. It's changed a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to stay on top of it. Like, there's all kinds of stuff happening. Like, you have to read up and study what's going on out there and stay on top of it. Somebody just Blake just commented about MAC address sync being available, but MAC address sync isn't really considered a very great security feature. But it's easy to spoof a MAC address. It's more important to turn on TLS certificate check, host mismatch, host name check, all of that. And then, like I said, with the new macking updates that are coming out, macking is not MAC address sync. It's something different. But with macking coming out, it'll help a lot with that. But above all, if you just change the lock on the top of the ATM, like it's generally probably the number one thing you can do, because it's a little harder. It draws more attention if somebody's trying to pop the lock. So, they usually look for the easier targets.
Yeah, so you really talk about two different type of criminals. The more sophisticated criminals, I guess, were doing stuff like that. And then the less sophisticated are the ones that's just ripping ATMs out, or, robbing cash loaders. Do you think that's something that's gotten worse since you've been in it? The different type of, I know that fraud's always been around.
When we started, well, before COVID, let's say we'd have an ATM vandalized or broken into or stolen like once a year, maybe once every other year. And for sure, it's more now, but it's slowed down a little bit this year for us. The last year was probably the worst. But it's still, like, compared to, I mean, we're mostly in like higher end locations, like hotels and airports and stuff. So compared to like a lot of these guys that have a lot of gas stations and stuff, like they get way more issues with that, especially out in like California, certain areas where they let criminals just run free.
Run Dash Cash said his uncle is a Nigerian prince and he just got an email about it. Well, congrats. Let us know how much money you get, Run Dash Cash.
Yeah, I watch American Greed and I just can't believe how people fall for some of these scams. The biggest scam out right now is that pig butchering, where with these crypto pig butchering scams, where like, and I see them like on Instagram, like some like obviously fake Instagram profile with a girl like send you a message and they like, I don't respond to them. It's so obvious it's fake, but apparently like tons of people are falling for it. And I saw last year Americans lost $5 billion to those scams. And it's not even like, it's just like some guy who's being held prisoner in Cambodia or in what's the other place? Cambodia or I forget the other one. Anyway, they're being held prisoner by like these big gangs, and they're forcing them to scam so much money each day in order to like eat and not be tortured.
Insanity.
So crazy. It's
Especially
crazy.
like with the deep fakes. I mean, you see, like, because I'll see these deep fakes where it'll be like Elon Musk, and you just see the reel, so you start watching it, but it's Elon Musk like pushing a product or something that that he's swearing by, and then like until you rewatch it, you're like, okay, this is a deep fake. But the deep fakes are getting really, really good, where it's like, to somebody that what, like, I had to watch it twice to be able to see that. So it's pretty scary, man. It's pretty scary. People out there,
fake in Hong Kong where they faked like they were the CFO of the company and went on video and told them to wire like millions of dollars to an account, and it wasn't even him.
What?
And they did it. Yeah.
Damn.
It's like, you can buy insurance for that, by the way, for everyone listening. Like we have insurance for like that type of situation where somebody, if somebody were to like trick accounting into sending money to the wrong account, or like intercept an email and change the numbers and all. But you should still have systems in place, like checks and balances to not one person should not be able to approve a wire in your business. There should be
definitely. And
people involved.
Like I think back, like when I had my ATM route, like, it was really bootstrapped. Like, every dollar, I needed every dollar to fill, every dollar to buy, every dollar to service. Where if I were to get scammed or to get, God forbid, to get robbed or hacked or something, like, dude, I'd have been done. I'd have been donezo. So I feel for, new ATM guys that are just trying to, grow a business. And now it's almost like they have a whole new threat that they have to worry about. So like, in 2024 going into 2025, would you encourage people to, grow if they have an ATM route to grow it, or should they be like pivoting to other passive income streams?
It's still a strong ROI in a lot of
Mhm.
cases. When I first got into business, a lot of these, there was just other variations of these scams. There was or attacks, let's say.
Mhm.
There was a big thing back then where people would use the default password on the ATMs before you had to change them. Now you have to change them, but back
Mhm.
then, people would change them and change the denominations
Mhm.
from 20s to ones, and then they would use the ATM a bunch of times and get the cash. But that, they close that loophole, and they keep closing these loopholes and patching vulnerabilities, and
Mhm.
the problems go away for a couple years, and then something new comes out.
Mhm.
So that's any business,
It's
you just
cat and mouse,
got to stay on top of it. Really, you got
Mhm.
to keep looking at what's going on and follow the guidelines, and you can usually stay ahead of it. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and overall, when you really look at it over the course of 16 years of money
Mhm.
that got stolen from thefts and stuff, like, it's still a tiny fraction.
Mhm.
But like you said, if you're just starting out and everything you have's in it, then it hurts really bad when you lose something. But when you're playing the long game, it spreads out.
Have you found like any ways to monetize? I know y'all were working on some type of book or a course for passive income, or like even like through social media. Like, have you found any, ways to monetize, that side of your business? Like, selling a course or consulting. Have you done anything like that or looked into that?
Not really. I mean, we did make a PDF that shows people all the different like
Mhm.
mainstream passive income unattended businesses that we're familiar with, and we go over the pros and cons of each and explain each one. And I think
Mhm.
it's really good because you could. I think if I was just starting out, it would be a good guide to figure out what to do.
Mhm.
But we haven't, we gave them out for free for a while, and then we started charging like $10, $20 for them. But no, not really. But we don't promote it a whole lot, and like consulting and stuff. I just don't have time. I'm too busy
Mhm.
with my own businesses. I've thought about some of that stuff, but I'm really less interested in, most of the guys I see pushing this stuff want to show people how to start.
Mhm.
I'm less interested in showing people how to start. I'd be more interested in showing somebody who's got some momentum, who's already started, how to go to the next level. Like, I think that's probably where, like, I don't have the patience to teach somebody new
Mhm.
generally. It's hard,
It's
and
not for everybody either.
yeah. But if you're somebody who's like, hey, I put out 20 ATMs in my first year, 2 years, and I want to get to 100 next year,
Mhm.
like, I'd probably be pretty helpful for that person.
Yeah.
That's more of what I think my expertise is.
Yeah, the reason why I say that, I don't know if you see with like Patrick Bet David, like he created a company called Manek, and where the concept came from, I thought was genius. Like with like lawyers or attorneys, you have to pay by the hour, whether you talk to them for 10 minutes, you're getting billed for the hour. Well, they flipped that, and now you literally pay for the minute. So somebody like you can say, okay, hey, uh, you know, maybe somebody's got a couple questions, like you said, to scale their ATM business, and they can book a 15-minute call with you, at whatever your rate is. I think that information, because how many times, you know, have you growing up had a question, whether it's real estate, business, where if you had a mentor, somebody that you could just jump on a call like this, pay them by the minute, you're just sitting at the airport, jump on a call. I mean, I think that would be like crazy valuable. You know what I'm saying? Especially, you know,
it
because
is.
you've made every mistake and you've kind of gone through everything. You know, anything somebody's gonna think about with ATMs or real estate, like you've probably already tried it or perfected it.
Mhm. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I've seen that site. There's a lot of big people on there.
Mhm,
I'd be interested in being on it. You know, for the right price, sure. Most of the advice I give out's free, but
mhm,
I could list myself on there, sign up, and try to make some money. But generally, if like, I mean, people, especially in ATM business, are very open to sharing advice all over Facebook, and so there's Facebook groups. And
mhm,
usually, if somebody calls me who's got like hardly any ATMs, like two ATMs, and I got my phone number from somebody, like I'll talk to them for like 20-30 minutes and just give them
mhm,
advice for free. Um, so that happens a lot. But yeah, it would be good to monetize for sure, especially like I said, if they're looking to like scale to the next level. I don't think there's enough of that content for any
mhm.
of what we do, whether it be ATMs, credit cards, digital signage,
Yeah, it's
buy.
always like how to start, make
Yeah.
a bank account, make a LLC, but yeah, how to actually scale the business. And you know, I had a guy that I worked with recently. He sent me one of those sites, a biz buy sell, one of them business sites, and it was an ATM route on there. And he sent it to me. And you know, this guy, you know, makes six figures. He's got a job. He wanted to do this as a side thing, but like, you know, I looked at the numbers of, you know, the locations, what the revenue was, and I'm like, dude, this makes no sense. Like it was so overpriced. So then that got me thinking, because that's, you know, one thing I never really got into is buying ATM routes. Is that the route to go to scale, you think, is to just buy somebody's route? You know, it's getting out. Is that still profitable?
It depends on who you are and how you. That's a tough question because there's people, yeah, that is the best route for it because they have a lot of money and they just want to make a good ROI and they want to scale as fast as possible. But for the hustler, like for somebody like me, I'd rather go build it myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather do it. But I know people that do very well just in any business from acquisitions and building
Mm-hmm.
up. And then they usually just flip it to somebody bigger at some point for some crazy multiple. But that's never really been my thing. We've bought small routes and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
we've never really been an acquisition based company. But it works for people. It just depends. I mean, to go that route, you usually need to have more money,
Yeah.
and it's a little more risky because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of attrition with
Mm-hmm.
these acquisitions if you don't do them right and you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I
Uh,
never got into that because I didn't have the money. So that wasn't, you know, it could be the best deal in the world, and I ain't got the money, so I can't do it.
exactly. So we do have a couple. We're kind of at the end here, but we do have a couple questions that just
Mhm.
popped up. Somebody asked, "What are the key factors to consider when investing in real estate?"
Wait, repeat that one again.
Do you want to take that one, Kev? What are
Yeah,
what
can
are the
repeat the
key
question.
factors to consider when investing in real estate?
Oh, one, I guess, you know, obviously you want the numbers to make sense. And what I mean by that is to know your numbers, you know your interest rate, know the insurance, know, like, do you need flood insurance? If you're buying, I'm assuming that they're buying this as an investment property, like a duplex or a rental. Know your cap rate, know you know your different, there's different metrics of different type of returns you can calculate. Now, I'll just give you a simple formula. And again, this is just a kind of generalization, but the 1% rule, meaning that your rent ideally should be 1% of the purchase price. Now, look, that's not always going to be the case because you might be buying a property that for appreciation, kind of like what I did. Like I bought some real estate recently that doesn't cash flow because, you know, I'm looking at long-term appreciation. So you really want to know why you're buying it. If you're buying it, you know, for income, you need to know, does this cash flow? Now, look, when you're talking cash flow, it doesn't need to be a crazy number because the tenant's paying the note. So, and again, there's factors of like, is this area, the demographics of the area, is this a growing area? Is this an area you want to invest in? Is this an area that's maybe peaked? Is this an area that, looking at surrounding towns, like ideally you want to buy in the town that's on the edge of the town that just blew up. So you're saying, okay, this is the next area to blow up, which, there's a lot of speculation in that. So I'd say, knowing your numbers, looking at every metric, I'd say that's the number one thing, and probably the number two thing is, would you live there? Like whatever you're buying, like you might have to live there one day, if you lose a tenant and you got to sell your house or rent your house, you might have to go live there. So what do you think's the number one thing?
Depends on what type of real estate you're buying. I'm not a fan of houses. I really don't like houses. I have some rental houses, and I don't like them at all. When you really look at the numbers, I know people always debate me on this, always. But like I have paid off rental houses, and they still don't make any money. By the time, like they really don't, because by the time we're in New Orleans, so by the time we pay the crazy high property taxes, the crazy high insurance, and the insane amount of maintenance it takes to maintain a house in the city, it's like there's no money left. And as soon as you start to get ahead, something goes wrong. The roof's got to be replaced, the refrigerator's got to be replaced, everything. It never fails. Washer machine, dryer, electrical work. So I mean, if you're going to buy a house, don't buy like an old New Orleans house, and don't buy one that's in the middle of Hurricane Alley, because it's just not worth it, in my opinion. And I don't see how these guys that go buy all these rental houses locally make any money, because, like I said, mine are paid off and I still don't make any money. So it's just an appreciation play for me. And then I love Airbnbs, STRs. I think that is probably the best place for most people to start and make some serious return, is with some Airbnbs. I mean, you got to be careful though, because a lot of cities like New Orleans have greatly restricted it, and a lot of investors got screwed because they bought these houses, paid top dollar, modeled it out based on what they saw on AirDNA, and then the city took their license, and now they're screwed and they're selling the house for less than they paid for it. So I like the idea, like we were talking about earlier, like go out into like new areas, like an hour outside of a big city, 2 hours outside of a big city, do these little small houses and cabins and stuff, and on some beautiful piece of land. And that's much cheaper than building something nice in the city, where you're going to pay top dollar for the land and everything else. Out in a rural area, your taxes would be lower and everything would just be lower and easier. So I like that idea, but I'm a huge, like, if right now I was going to buy a bunch of real estate, which I'm not right now, but I would say STRs for sure. And I like warehouses, like small warehouses. I think that those are here to stay. I mean, retail is tough. A lot of shopping centers are losing retailers. Everything's moving online, but warehouses aren't going anywhere. You got all of these businesses that need to store things, or maintenance type of businesses, industrial type of businesses. Like they need warehouses and office space and all, like in a warehouse. I don't like regular office space. I think that's pretty bad right now. But this what they call flex space, where you have like the warehouse in the back, and kind of like our office. You've been in our office. Yeah. We got the office in the front, the warehouse in the back. I love that stuff.
I would love to have a big warehouse, whether it's to rent it, put my stuff in it. But yeah, it's going to be so expensive. Like to rebuild your warehouse right now would be crazy expensive versus what y'all, you know what I'm saying? So like, I think you're right about warehouse. I'll add this too. Creative financing, and there's a bunch of gurus, whatever, doing the creative finances, the subject to the mortgage. If I buy another property this year, it will 100% be through some type of creative finance. You get to assume, if they got a good interest rate, you get to assume the interest rate. You don't have to put any money down, and you just basically, they're signing the mortgage over to you. Now, those deals are hard to get, a lot of competition, but like if you know what you're doing, you can make a lot of money subject to houses, which is kind of becoming a new phenomenon the last couple of years.
Yep. I agree. Well, we're out of time, guys. We went over a little bit, and super happy that Kev came on today. And
Yes, sir.
go follow him. Kev, tell him where they can find you.
Man, look, I'm on Twitter. Y'all can just search either Classic Kev or my name, Kevin Estopanol. I'm on X, Instagram, YouTube. Just search, man. We talk everything from crypto, real estate, geopolitics, whatever y'all want to talk about. We do it. But appreciate you having me on, Richie. We'll definitely have to do it again in a couple months. Hopefully we both make some big moves and we got something to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Sounds good, Kev. We'll do it. Have a good one. Thanks, everyone.
All right, peace.
Bye.